tried to use my GoPro. It was too confusing. What a waste of money. It only works sometimes the way I want it. So I'm using my pad, not an iPad, but a Samsung pad. And there is things that I'm concerned about. I feel like sometimes I should change my programming a little bit. Should I be more controversial in my talks? Should I decide to talk about the situation that we have in America? Because it does affect everything we do. If you work in a restaurant, it affects you. No matter what business you are, it affects you. I'm not talking about the small nuances of not just bankruptcies, but that's a big part of it. Not the chapter 11, it's not any of those other chapters. But we are all being affected by it. And I think a lot of it is due to what's happening to our country, the policies that are being laid down. There is no getting around it. As you can see, I'm wearing one of my favorite places, Mount Rushmore. We don't need no one else there because we know where this is going. Normally I don't talk about my health. I will enlighten you on a little bit, but everything is okay substantially. I did in the beginning when I first started YouTube. The pandemic was going on, and that's when I started it. We started getting the COVID shots. I did put those on video, each shot that I took. The process I went going through it. Hello there, Brianna. I'm doing okay. The process I went through, even the process I went through to take a cruise. Hey, Baron Baxter. Even the process I went through going on a cruise the same year and having to file a different type of paper to make sure that I take the COVID shots, that it was up to date. That's all I did was the first and second. I didn't get no booster or any of that stuff. Especially at my age, I don't think it's necessary. I think the most important things is pneumonia, colds, and flu. And I am due for a flu shot in the coming months. But we are all being affected by the shenanigans from people that we depend on. As I see it growing up, things have been very, very, very slow and reactionary and backwards. You don't take something that's working and you take it away. You don't take something from America that helps America become America. This is a melting pot and they want to destroy it. I don't care what political side you're on because I don't care. But no matter what political side you're on, you can see that you're being blinded, or you are just blind yourself because your people, I'm talking about Americans, okay? And I'm talking about people who come here to live, who become Americans, or you don't have to be American to come here. You come here to work, you come here to thrive, you come to make America what it's supposed to be the melting pot in the world. It seems like the other countries are becoming more melting pot than we are. When you look at TV, all the travel shows on YouTube, even before YouTube was even born, you see how beautiful these downtowns look all over the country. Yes, they got their problems. There are a lot of people who died building these behemoths of buildings. I've been in the CN Tower in Toronto. I've been in the Chicago Tower. I was in one of the towers in the World Trade Center back in the day before it was dead. Thank you very much about the mustache. I really did a good job, but thank you very much. Uh, I've been into some of the tallest places. I've been into the Empire State Building. And yes, I am very sad about the state of affairs that's going on in our global community. I don't know what tongue punch is, but if you think, if you can elaborate a little bit, probably in the comment section instead of this section, I don't want none of this little guy. No, no. So, I am very perturbed about what's happening here since I was a little kid. Okay. No, I don't want no little. No, I don't want no this little guy. No, I don't want no little guy. I'm a little guy myself, but I know I can do much better. Heck, I'm here because I really am kind of disappointed. I don't want to call no names, but we know what the system is all about. They talk about people that they want up, and they don't talk about the right people who has fell down. Because a lot of these people are just showing who they really are. They're coming out of the woodworks on all this shenanigans, because that's what it is to me. It's showing ignorance. It's showing really how bad you really were behind closed doors. I always expected that, but now you're actually coming out of the way you are. Well, at my age, I'm tough enough, but then again, I'm beyond boxing. That's why we have people out there doing things for us who are unable to do just a little small thing to put the USA back on the map. I don't care how tough you are, I don't care how weak you are. Everyone has a voice. I let everyone speak. I don't care about any of those things. Even travel is being affected a great deal, and it always will be affected. We know that we used to could get on planes without any problem, just like you do on the Greyhound bus. You just get on and you just go about your business. Now people are acting crazy no matter where they go, and it just doesn't make any sense. One thing I notice that sometimes I don't think it's worth it sometimes to even travel sometimes. Even though I love to travel, I don't think sometimes it's not even worth it. Because usually what you see on TV is what you get. However, we want to go to those places because we see it. We don't care about harming anybody. Only bad people harm other people. I wish I did have a glass chin. I have been hit a couple of times before, but I never fell out. Unfortunately, I never took boxing lessons. However, you're free to come on and say anything you want, crazy. Because if that's what YouTube is about, then that's what YouTube is about. I can't help that. But that's not the reason why I'm on here. Just a few weeks ago, in my travels, like I said, I don't talk about my health that much. However, I did get a little sick before my last trip. My day was pretty good. I had to fix my tail lights. It took me a while. I bought some bulbs. I had to take the bulbs back. I ended up I had a nice service advisor who decided to go ahead and fix my vehicle right then and there so I can drive my car at night. All the bulbs work. I can do some things on my own still. In fact, I still try to take care of my mother at the same time. So, hey, I have a lot of things on my plate. And yes, I've been through some of the hard times growing up just like anybody else. And it doesn't matter. However, I'm getting off the beaten path. Before I did my travels, I did get a couple of sick. I think I remember that before that I did get sick a little bit. It was because of my abscess, is what they call it, teeth. I used a little home remedy called garlic and put it under my jaw and took the swelling down all the way down. Of course, even garlic hurts. It takes the pain away out of your jaw. So yeah, I'm telling you a true life thing that happened. I was getting sick about a day. I couldn't even go to sleep for 2 nights. But I was able to go travel. It took about 4 or 5 days for it to really go down. I was still able to eat. I was getting a little sick because of the atmosphere up in the mountains. But I got over it because I know that it's had something to do with the abscess, or whatever they call it, on my tooth. So I waited a while until I decided to go to the dentist. Now, mind you, I went to the dentist a couple of weeks before that, wasn't no problem. But all this stuff sometimes happens, and it happens when we travel. But I got it down and I enjoyed the rest of my trip. But I did make an appointment to the dentist, and today I always promise myself I listen to everybody talk about root canals. Okay, root canals, they hurt like hell. They hurt. They hurt. So I told the dentist, you know what? I made a promise not to have one because everyone said that it's really painful. It's really bad. Maybe the dentist didn't do a good job. Maybe that is true. Maybe they didn't do a good job. However, I did the root canal this morning. I didn't feel a thing. I cannot believe it. It looked good. I, all I got to do now is put the permanent crown or whatever they call that. I got to wait a couple of more weeks. I even bought, you see it, Tylenol. Now, what's on the news again? Tylenol. Tylenol right now is one of the safest things that you can take besides aspirin, besides Motrin, besides any of that stuff. Until they say something is wrong with it, until they say something is wrong with Tylenol, then I'll stop taking Tylenol. But you know what? My mouth is not hurting yet. I'm still waiting for it to hurt. I'm still waiting for my jaw to go up. Maybe it might go up tomorrow. Maybe it starts swelling up. But I knew I probably could take the root canal. They shoot me up real good. Okay? Long as they shoot me up real good with that drug that numbs your jaw and all that kind of stuff. I think that was the most pain I had with those needles. 3 or 4 or whatever. It could have been 5 or 6 for all I know. 3 or 4. That was the most painful thing during the whole trip to the dentist. Of course, you have a hard time breathing every now and then because they be moving around your mouth and you're trying to swallow. That always happens, even when I go get my teeth cleaned. That happens all the time. But I knew I could get through it, and I knew that it's better than not going to sleep. But because of this Tylenol, because of this, I have, is that the right word? I have debunked all those people who scared the living hell out of me all those years. And it's less than getting an implant. Actually, it's probably half of getting an implant. That's all I'm going to say. Because the going implant, I think, is $7,000 per tooth, right? If you don't know that, that's common knowledge. Most people are getting implants. It is about 7. And that's the truth. So right now, I'm going through the process of waiting to see if it's going to hurt me some more. I still can't be eating nothing solid on my right side, and it is the bottom tooth. But I'm trying still not to eat too much. I need to lose weight anyway, but then again, we all say that, and I don't go to the gym mostly. So, Tylenol is the thing now that's under debate, not by qualified people. I want to hear qualified people talk. I don't want to hear about no one being appointed. I don't want to hear no falsities. I don't want to hear none of that stuff. It's the same thing with COVID. COVID shots, like anything else, some people can take it and some cannot. There's always going to be somebody in all of the world, I'm talking about the globe, all the world, who cannot take the shots. For whatever reason, they're allergic to it. It's not generic to everybody. And now California is separating itself from the CDC and the FCC. You know, I'm getting tired of this free speech stuff. And yes, I am under the dilemma of wanting to really talk about what's going on with all this language and stuff. Do I want to hold back? Only a little bit that I try to do. I might try to spread some insight. No, I don't know everything about it. But as I said, if you're not that versed about it, at least read about it, at least acknowledge it, educate yourself about it, talk a little bit about it. You don't have to be the most eloquent person in the world. And you know, I'm not the most eloquent person and I don't care. However, I'm still on here expressing my own opinion about how terrible the United States is treating its own people, including people who are here to work. If they wouldn't been doing the job that they're supposed to been doing years ago, we would not have this problem. Everyone is sitting on their butts, including for the homeless. No one is doing anything for the homeless. I give to charities. And mostly I give to children's charities. In fact, I think I'm behind right now. I give to children's charities because I think that's where we need the help. We need the help for the future. If not for me, it's for the children of tomorrow. It really is. The children of tomorrow are the ones that are being born today. Hopefully they'll grow up and they do the right thing for their people, for their generation. And if they are in their teens or preteens, hopefully those that are capable of watching this video perhaps, maybe they'll continue on with their life doing great things. Because great things is doing the right thing, regardless of what background you come from. America was not built in a day. It is still by far the youngest country, as far as I'm concerned, and it's still running into a lot of problems. Even the other countries are being affected. As long as the people who are supposed to take care of is looking the other way, we're all in jeopardy. You can look at the countries in Africa and look just at the skyscrapers themselves. I'm going back to that. You see how beautiful they look. Of course, every country has its own problems. It don't matter whether it's Europe, any of those countries. But people still look here to the USA for this practicality. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be simple here. You work hard, you play hard. You become world champions, even though it's not necessarily a world champion, but it's champions in the United States. Of course, when you expand, like in sports and everything else, you bring in other people into the fold, and now it becomes world championship. Because you have many, many different types of people playing the sport here in the USA. And they have other people. That's why we have the Olympics. That's why we have the World Games. That's why we have all these things. And yet, we have so much trouble in this country. I, I don't have to talk about the good things because we know what the good things are. If you do your work, you, you work hard, like I said, and you play hard, and you travel hard. You don't have to go all over the world to travel. Even though traveling is right up there and one of my favorite things, and eating food, of course. We all have to eat. We all have to do this. But if you're going to take jobs away, most of us, that's what, hey, yeah, hey, I got to go to bed. All right, I'll check you later. This is actually a special late night video. And I hadn't even, I'm glad you said that because we know what's happened as far as late night shows. Okay, I'll check you later, Riggin. We know what happened to late night shows. That's why I said, should I talk more? Because how are you going to stop freedom of speech? If you're going to stop freedom of speech, it's going to be more freedoms of speech because you tried to stop it. Okay, see you later. Check, check you. Because you're going to stop freedom of speech. You're igniting people to even do more because you are putting something, a barrier on confidence. And people are not going to become unconfident. They will talk themselves till they can't talk anymore. And just because you take or you influenced other stations, which I don't particularly care for because a lot of them become biased anyway, I do appreciate those programs who kind of tell it like it is all the time. So, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. This is my show. This is my time. And I'm going to use it effectively. But I want to keep it clean because really, whether you say adjectives or not, is what you really believe in. And what you see is more confusion because people are being fed lies and they're tired of hearing reactionary, old, archaic actions, archaic actions, reactionary, going back to the past, if I'm using it right, not being true to themselves. Joining a bandwagon, which you learn in school. If you don't know anything of bandwagons, when you follow someone, whether they're good or bad, and yes, those people who are supposed to be watching our backs are not watching our backs at all. They're throwing mud in our faces. We work hard. We do what we can. Do you really love America? I don't think so. If you really love America, you want a melting pot. Don't be blaming other people for your failures because you were supposed to have been setting the standards in the first place. We all have to show some sort of example in this country. And a lot of you out there are not showing good examples at all. I know that there's problems out there. They talk about the algorithm. Should I change because I'm eclectic? Only thing I do is this and that. I might put in a little bit of this and that like I'm doing now. Probably more time than I should have. But every now and then I have to get my point across from when I first started because it does not make any sense. People are out there working, trying to make an honest living, and you can't even do the right thing. You say one thing and do another. And the biggest word that we hear is hypocrites. You can fall under any banner you want to, But if you don't have the solutions to help people in need, because there are some people out there who don't care what the solution is, good or bad. If they don't like you, they don't like you. If they love you, they love you. If you say something wrong, yes, they will think about what you said in the past or what you did. Or, like I said, they'll look the other way. Because a lot of people I never heard of, when something happens, now you hear about them. And then they start playing all that stuff because I really don't know who they are. Just like some people don't know who I am. And if the algorithm keeps me small, that's okay because I'm sure there's some people out there, if they're still around, at my age, know who I am, but don't acknowledge that's fine with me because if I know you, I will let you know that I know who you are. If we come from the same neighborhood or not. This is Robin Deschamps, not LA born, but LA transplant. Yes, I'm very proud of myself being coming out of New York at a very young age, a transplanted here in Los Angeles, raised in Los Angeles. I have to go through that again. And I do small travels and eating. And yes, I do need a part-time job. Or part-time drug. Yeah, I do need part-time drugs every now and then to maintain my health. And if it's gonna be Tylenol, so it is. If it's something else, so it will be. I'll see you in my next video. I didn't think I was gonna give one. They talking about creative content. I guess it's already in here. And I don't have to write the script. But every now and then, I got to say something. Regardless of whether you like me or not as a small YouTuber, I'm glad to have 1,000 subscribers. I hope I keep getting more subscribers. It's the views. And I'll continue on my regular content. But every now and then, if someone feels I should be more commentary, put it in the comment section. And I would think about trying to talk about those things. I won't shy away from it, but I will say it in my own kind of way because it's not for me to put anybody down. It's for me to pull up, give confidence to the weak. We all have to live in this world. So we might as well do it in a positive way because if no one else can help us, then I guess we have to do it ourselves. No matter how small we are or how big and disenfranchised. I'll see you in my next video, folks. Have a great rest of your night. Late night eclecticism with Robin Deschamps. Will someone throw me off the air? Hmm. YouTube can, I guess. I do have to watch what I say. I have been warned a couple of times in the past about something. I was very strong, but they thought it was strong language, but I said nothing wrong, but I did appeal it. Believe me. I guess you become strong without saying any adjectives. Is that almost what happened lately? The big channels ought to be ashamed of themselves.